This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klaus. Let's get started.
When you see God's Rust surrounded by armies,
I'm sorry I couldn't buy us more time.
then know that its dissolution has come near.
I mean, I have great faith in the gods. I think that no matter what happens, they're going to triumph over this.
Then let those who are upon the pinnacle flee to the mountains.
And it's not really our place to judge, but to serve.
And let those who are inside the city depart.
I think if you gave me a few days, I could learn enough deep speech to try.
And let not those who are out in the forest enter it.
I'm an archaeologist. Disrespecting the dead is kind of what I do.
For these are the days of vengeance,
I just want to know what the fuck I am.
to fulfill all that is written.
Do not heed the visions of false prophets. Do not become what they want you to become.
Alright, Scales. It's up to you now. You've got this.
Episode 54, Children of the Bronze Drake. The camera pans across a forest of blue pines, thick with underbrush and the smell of sap seeping from tangled roots. Like a comet, we see a trail of lights moving through the unclaimed woods in a line. Our vision lifts to follow it overhead faster and faster along its trail until we suddenly pan up to see where the light leads. A few jagged stone walls in the center surrounded by lights of green, gold, orange, and blue, encircling it with the setting sun and the rising moon casting long shadows. The roofless structure has no floor or doors, but is as part of the forest as the trees themselves. In the center is a wooden table with 12 chairs, where 12 crowned individuals sit around it. 3 kings of verdant revelry, 3 queens of lust, 3 kings of muse, and 3 queens of terrible beauty. Upon the table are numerous silverware filled with the finest of foods and wines served by small fairies of light. A standing man grins upon them, with bright teeth and blue-green cat eyes. He wears a fine turtleneck and a long jacket of velvet as he presents himself to the 12 royalty. Kings and queens of the court, we certainly have had our share of conflict and disagreement. However, your majesties have always found a way to unite when outside threats have presented themselves. In this twilight hour, we gather here at the convergence of the seasons in order to establish a new tradition. Before, a duel of knights at the table decided the order of, yet the power traded had no focus. The man summons a blade. The power of the vanquished will be drawn into this blade with the changing seasons and be held by the victor, requiring a great sacrifice each time, but most of all at first blood. A king of green revelry, in long flowing robes and a crown tall and large of green blades of grass, speaks through his red beard. Aye, we hear you, Boltorus. Yet we all have agreed not to bring our knights this evening. However, I am no knight. Boltorus plunges the blade into the chest of the revelry king before spinning in a wide arc to slice through the neck of the calm-eyed musing king as he slowly stands. The camera zooms in on the table to a cake splattered with blood as a pool of it spreads across the table beside it. Remembrance of the last kings of spring and autumn. Previously, as the bronze scales make their desperate escape from Set and Felnor, the bags of holding collapse together, dragging the scales and a few of their enemies into a sea of lights in view of the Eye of Merv. The scales struggled against the undead and Umbach, who came through with the help of a new ally, and as a storm opened up in the distance. Destroying the last of the undead, and Umbach, a celestial Voltar, landed, inquiring as to why enemies were brought through before flying off after one of the Umbach who was cast into the astral sea. With the storm imminent, the scales gathered the most important of their gear scattered upon malachite stone leaving the coins of gold to rush to shelter before thunderous waves slammed against the floating rock. Once inside, the scales spoke to their new ally, discovering the elf Felix was aware of who they were and was indeed searching for them. The interior room was carved from malachite green marble, except for a golden stone brazier and 2 feline statues of malachite, flanking stairs downward. Inspecting the statues, it would discover that the green light came from their eyes meeting in the middle, which was blinding to any who came near enough or walked through. We come back to the story here. You each found rest upon the hard stone, trying your best to recover from the wounds and exhaustion of the past days. The storm vibrates this place as you try to find rest, the rumbling only broken by the occasional sound of lightning like the crack of a whip. What would you like to do?
So once Felix finishes his meditation, I'm going to replace the Comprehend Languages scroll that I used yesterday, which will take a couple hours. And then if everybody is still sleeping, he's going to just kind of mosey over to Ellery and get that little crystal plant thing. And he's just going to examine that.
Give me 1 second.
Did you guys already roll hit dice at the end of last session? I forgot.
I rolled 1 for the short rest before the long rest.
I rolled all of mine.
Okay, I should probably do that, shouldn't I?
Well, yeah, if you want to do it for the short rest before the long, and then I can do my feet in the morning.
Yeah.
Sorry. Cats. Our cats. So, Felix, you are eyeing the crystal. Is everyone else going to sleep at this point? We're kind of picking up right before you guys find rest. You guys are kind of beginning to prepare.
Oh, he would wait for everybody to be asleep before he did that, so.
I think while everybody else is getting settled for the night, after Amson casts Tiny Hut, he'll, just in case it matters, he'll do a song of rest for everybody. Oh hey, I rolled 6. Sweet. Think I'll sing something for this time, though. Seeing all of his wounded friends. And a missing one. Amson is going to play quietly. And he'll sing, I sing aloud of nature's beauty, the world outside, of birds and trees, the storming clouds of flashing lightning. I need your wings to shelter me. And I know that only time will tell us how to bring us all back together. So please stay alive so we can find you. Give us some time to heal and pray. We won't stay like this forever. We just need some time to rest today.
The quiet words as they echo in the small room somehow are able to overpower the sound of the storm surrounding you as you begin to prepare for rest, healing your wounds, and that gives, I think, 6 extra, Amson, to anyone who was taking a short rest to patch up their wounds.
Yep.
Before you guys settle in. Let me know if anyone else has anything, otherwise we'll kind of pick back up with what Felix was waiting to do as everyone begins to go to bed. Okay. So everyone patches their wounds the best they can, finding somewhere semi-comfortable on the hard stone. You're exhausted and it doesn't matter much to find rest. And one by one, each of you are able to find it. Meli's dancing lights winking out as she loses concentration on them, falling unconscious herself, leaving just Felix and Aeon.
Yeah, so Felix will go over to where Ellery set the crystal plant down. He wants to examine it and see how similar it is to what he thinks.
Okay. Roll a Either investigation or arcana check.
I will do arcana. Not great. That's a 13.
It's similar in color to what you've seen before. There's a dim, pulsing light that runs through the crystal, similar to what you saw before. But otherwise, the size and scale is mismatched. It's kind of hard to tell for sure whether this is related or not. There are features of this that are more plant-like, where what you saw before wasn't. It's similar, but you're not sure for sure.
Okay. I'll just work on my scroll until the rest of them start to wake up.
Okay. So you guys rest. Felix working on his scroll and meditating. As each of you begin to, one by one, begin to awaken in this place. It's dark before Meli recast her dancing light, giving a little bit of light to the room. You're still sore, and you all lose one level of exhaustion if you had it, as you begin to recover from the days prior. What would you like to do?
I will cast light on myself to kind of help illuminate things. And then I'll go and start helping everybody else patch up if they need it in the morning. So I don't know who all is injured.
Speaking of which, for those of us who had maximum health damage, is our maximum back to normal?
Good question. Let me pull that up. I'll pull that up as you guys are coming to.
Okay, so Ball needs one. That disadvantage. Oh, awesome. Love this. Love it. Okay, that's a failure on one. Sorry.
That should be okay. I literally just needed 1 extra HP now. Okay. It does when you wake up.
Okay, success on the second. I don't know. Ellery, do you need it?
I kind of wave Vesper away, though okay, I still look slightly hurt.
That depends if I have my normal maximum or not. So
yeah,
the maximum returns to normal after the long rest.
Then yes, I do.
Okay, then I will patch you up with that success.
Okay.
I'll heal Meli, I guess, if I can. Yep, Meli's good, and then I will do, hopefully, myself. Yeah. Okay, great.
While Vesper is taking care of the others, I would like to go to the entrance of this space that we've taken shelter. Is it open to the outside right now?
No, there was a large stone that Ball rolled back in front of it. It looks like it's a purposeful stone to slide into place. So it's currently closed.
Okay. And probably too heavy for me to move at all.
It's very large and heavy, yeah. Ball struggled with it.
Well, I'm gonna kind of stand there anyway. Can I hear the storm still going on?
You no longer hear the storm or feel it rumbling at all.
Okay. I'm going to look down at my hand and just kind of stare at it a little, looking at the mark that was left just, I think, 2 nights before. And I will cast Healing Word on myself.
You cast the spell and it begins to heal over some of the fresher parts of the wound, but the searing scar left from the lightning does remain. But some of the fresher wounds do close up.
Okay, 3, so I'm mostly healed up from that. And I just I feel the effect of that, and still kind of staring at my hand, I say, well, at least it seems like you don't think I should have just died, even if that angel of yours seems to have a different opinion. And then I go back.
Once I'm no longer bleeding everywhere, I would like to pull out my journal and just find like a blank page and start trying to figure out 25 words that I can send to Ezekiel.
Okay. You guys are kind of getting up, recovering, trying to heal your wounds. Felix, as you near the feline statues, the light emits. When you're close to it, it blinds you with the light. Though when you back up, it begins to fade and your vision returns, as long as you don't pass through it.
Can I see anything that the light or that fire is coming from?
The light appears to be coming from the eyes of the statues, to the left and right of the stairs, and it kind of meets in the middle. And it's light. Not quite fire, but just light.
Got
green.
It. Well, good morning.
Just put it over my journal.
Good morning, Felix.
Well, you all seem to still be dealing with some kind of emotional turmoil, so I can try and be delicate. I am curious as to what your next move will be.
I think Amson will look over at what Vesper is doing and then say, I think we're trying to figure that out right now.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Alright, I think I've got 25 words.
I go over towards Vesper now. You're gonna tell him to wait for us to hide, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna... You can do this 3 times, so first I'm just gonna apologize, make sure he's alright and safe, and see if he's got a plan.
Okay.
Let him know that we're coming back. So I will cast Sending to Ezekiel, and I'll say, sorry we had to go. Are you okay? Are you safe? Do you have a plan, or do we need one? We'll come back.
Bowing your head, nearly in prayer as you speak these words, and let Ain carry it across plains to Ezekiel. You wait, but hear no response.
I'm going to try one more time. And say the same message just one more time, and hope that maybe it was a fluke.
You repeat your words for a second time, and for a second time you wait, but hear no response. Dead silence.
He's not answering. I can try again. I can try one more time. We can't respond, but I can try. And then Meli can pick up.
I walk away from her.
Why don't we wait just a little bit before you try again? Give it some time.
I think Vesper just kind of sits there like she wants to do it again so badly, but she'll nod and just take a breath.
I think no matter what, we have to try to figure out a way out of here.
Well, do any of you have any means of traversing the plains?
Look to Meli.
I do, but I need some chalk to make some more, I guess. She kind of begins to pull out her spell book and flip to the page and starts referencing things. And
can I take a look at what exactly she needs as magical reagents?
Yeah, you look over her shoulder onto the spell, and the spell, it takes up 3 pages. The preparation is extensive, the runes are complex. But as you look over, she does tell you, need some chalk infused with gemstones. If we have some gems, we might be able to make it work. She's kind of going through her bag, seeing if she has any sort of gems that she might be able to utilize.
I have some jewelry that I held onto. We can pry the gems out of that.
That could work.
So I'm going to go ahead and dig into my bag, my regular bag, and pull out, what was it? I have a circlet that has gemstones in it.
Did it specify how much it cost, or do you remember how much the circlet cost?
$250.
Okay. Probably 50 of that was the circlet metal, so the 200 is probably worth of the gemstones in there.
So I'm just going to pry all 12 of them, apparently, out of that. And
I just need maybe just one of those. I need all of them. I have to crush them, probably.
Well, you may as well have all of them.
It'll take some time, but I can make the chalk with these. Thank you.
Thank you.
And she takes it and,
Paul, could you?
And she places it on the stone.
Could you break this one?
Okay.
And I think you still have the Umbach hammer.
Yeah, the giant maul, I believe.
Okay. Give me just a strength check, just for flavor.
Sure. I think before I do, Ball will just kind of heat it up. So you just see, because Ball can kind of ignite things at will, so he's going to try to ignite the gems to kind of heat them up.
Mm-hmm.
Make them easier to break apart.
Yeah.
And then he's going to try to hammer down. So you wanted a strength check?
Yeah, just a regular strength. Or athletics if you have it.
Let's say 22.
Yeah, with the gemstones hot, you bring the hammer down, smashing, and as you pull the hammer up, you can see the material is dusted down on the ground, slowly cooling after you heat it up. But it takes you only one smash ball to crush these gems small enough for her to work. She kind of sweeps them up and begins putting them in a pile and mixing them with some of her own components she does have, and begins trying to infuse magic into these gems, try to create chalk and infused ink for it. Says Meli is working on that. What are you doing?
I think while I'm watching Meli working with the gems and trying to prep everything, I kind of look over at Felix. So, how the fuck did you get here?
Well, when I arrived, I did have a traveling party. They were the ones that actually got me here with their own teleportation circle. Unfortunately, when we arrived, they got spooked. I went to go explore some of the other ruins, and when I got back, they were gone. And I'll kind of look down the passage, past the Sphinx statues, and just say, the noises from down there. Not sure how whatever it is got past these things, but there is something else in here.
Well, isn't that just lovely?
I mean, it seems like your friend is going to take a bit of time. I'd like to try and see if you all wouldn't mind.
That blinding magic wall kind of worries me, to be honest.
Yes, I haven't been able to figure out a way around it just yet.
Maybe we could try to disable the statues somehow.
Do you know what it does besides making all that light?
When I got near it, all I could see was just bright light. It completely blinded me.
And what does it look like again? It looks like a green fire, like in this image, or?
I use this image because it's all I had, but it doesn't look like fire at all. It's just green light that is brightest at the eyes of the Sphinx statues, and then brightest in like a singular line where it meets in the middle, but the light spreads out from there. And it's just a green light. Kind of a light green light, but as you get closer, it seems to get brighter. It's not too bright when you're standing against the back wall, but as you get closer, it envelops your vision and almost blinds you. Or it does blind you.
And is it clear that it's coming from these gems in the eyes?
Yeah, pretty clear.
Maybe we can remove the gems.
And how high up are the gems on the statue?
They're maybe 10 feet up. They're about where the eyes are on the statues.
I broke Meli's gems. Maybe I can break these gems too.
That sounds like an excellent idea, Ball. Do you think you could do that for us?
I'll have to roll some dice to find out.
Well, why don't you take an extra D8, because you're a very strong and handsome man.
Right, well, Ball will walk up from the side, since the party's kind of indicated this light may not be the best or the safest.
Okay. And as you get closer, the light ignites once more. And it is very much like Alex said, it's kind of a Green Lantern type light. But as you get closer, it flares once again, and as you get close enough to it, effectively blinds you with that green light as you get close enough to the statue. All you see is light.
All right. And if I take a step back, does my vision kind of come back to me?
It does. Yeah, it takes a few seconds, but it does, over maybe 30 seconds or so, come back to you.
Okay, so since it's kind of hard to see it when he gets closer, Ball's going to try to make take the time to really line up his maul and where the Sphinx eye is. Is it coming from two eyes or just from one eye in the Sphinx?
Coming from both eyes.
Okay, so he'll line up the first eye, the one that's closest to him, and then kind of line up his strike, and before he does, he'll cast Searing Smite on himself, or on his weapon, rather, and then we'll try to take a swing at the gem.
When you cast Searing Smite, what does that look like? Does your hammer burst into flames, or does it heat up red hot, or what?
I think it just kind of bursts into flames. It looks similar to when Ball set something on fire. It's just in this case, the fire kind of, it ignites at first, and then it's almost like, when a fire kind of looks like it's almost dead, but it's still there.
Kind of like the simmering coals.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it has that kind of, aura and radiation of heat on his hammer, on his maul.
Okay. So you kind of line up your shot and then begin to step forward towards the statue and take a swing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So it blinds you when you get up to the statue. But you feel pretty good. You're aiming in the general direction, so it's disadvantage to hit.
Okay, and then I'll do that hit with my Phoenix Blade effect.
And if you want, you are inspired.
Right.
Yep.
Alright, so I will use it.
So ball moves up, but is clearly blinded, swings in a large arc, sideways slamming into the malachite stone statue. A few pieces crumble loose and fall down. You slam it into the arm, and a few pieces break loose as you kind of pull back and your vision returns. You miss the head, but the arm, the shoulder arm where you hit, did break off a few pieces. The light remains.
Maybe I'll try this again. And, yeah, I mean, Ball doesn't see any reason why he can't just keep swinging at it, so he might just try to keep swinging at it.
Can I play devil's advocate for just a moment? Because as much as I don't want to sit here all day, most of us have a limp right now, and I'm not feeling too great, and only Ball has weapons. I'm just mentioning that right now before we continue swinging at these things.
Amson will hand you the dagger that he conjured from his robe of useful items.
Okay, Ball and I have a weapon now.
I will pull the bone shiv out of my arm.
Kind of pulls through the flesh. It hurts every time, but you pull it out.
Okay.
The wound kind of forms back.
That fucking sucks. And I have this, but I still take your point.
Yeah, we're not looking good, so...
So Ball's kind of like already lined up his shot, and he's just kind of looking around, kind of confused whether or not he should swing. So, do you want me to try again?
Look, as the resident expert on fate and history here, for some reason, we all were brought here at this place, at this time. I mean, I came to this plane from Asmazaros. I could have ended up here any time. Leaving Fairy has its kind of issues, if you're not aware. And yet somehow I ended up here just a few days before you all. Why here? Why this place? If you all just want to sit because you're tired instead of possibly learning something that might be able to help you survive the next year, well, I guess that's on you.
I mean, I'd like to survive the next hour, first of all. No, I don't want to sit around all day. I really don't, but I also want us to be thoughtful about how we're proceeding. That's all.
I think this is a time for patience rather than action. Looks at Vesper. I think you're right. I know we're a restless bunch, but I think we kind of need rest. But those are my thoughts.
Well, I can't imagine that when she finishes there'll be much opportunity, so rest it is.
Meli kind of puts down what she's working on for a second. It's going to take me a few hours. I'll do it as fast as I can. And she kind of gets back to work. Probably 5. And then she begins working again.
I can wait here with Meli.
I can summon some protection.
I would like to take out my lantern of revealing and light that and see, I don't know, walk around the room, see if there's anything invisible.
And is that just reveal, like invisible creatures, or what does it reveal?
Invisible creatures or objects. I've got it on my sheet if I can figure out what window that is. Invisible creatures and objects are visible as long as they are in the lantern's bright light.
Make a investigation check.
Okay. Almost called him Ezekiel. Felix is examining the room. You notice that wooden bracelet that he wears glows pink again, as do his eyes. That is a 16.
Okay. As you spread the bright light of the lantern, revealing across the room, and look around. You don't notice any invisible creatures or objects hiding, but as you are inspecting the room, it's a pretty blank room. It's all malachite stone on the floor, walls, and ceiling above. The only interesting bits are the statues and the light and the brazier. And as you're searching with the lantern around the brazier, you do find a script. What languages do you speak?
Off the top of my head, Common, Elven, Deep Speech, and Draconic. But if I don't understand it, I can.
You don't immediately understand the language.
Alright, I will cast Comprehend Languages on myself.
Okay. You kind of set the lantern down, looking down on the brazier, and inscribed on the inside rim of the brazier are words in Celestial. Reading them, you see it says, "Build a pyre for the bodies of the children of the old gods and see their blessing."
I will repeat that to the group.
What does it mean by the old gods?
The children of the old gods. Information on them is sparse. I believe these statues might be depicting them. They're supposed to be vaguely feline, but possessing the faces of a more humanoid creature.
I don't...
So it wants us to make a fire? We can do that. And Ball will start walking up to the brazier. Brazier? Is that a different kind of brazier?
Dear God.
Boy, the enchanted brazier. Ball, give me a perception check.
That's an 18.
Okay. As you kind of are looking over at Felix, inspecting the room, as he sheds light around the statue that's partially broken before you, he passes by it and then goes over to the brazier to inspect it. You see something glinting from within the statue that you partially broke. Looking at it, you see shining dust of gem, crystal clear gem dust, like that of diamonds. There's not very much of it. It's very faint, like a few grains of sand, but it's there.
And does it it looks like dust? Like if Ball reaches and tries to kind of, like when you put your finger through dust and it leaves a mark, can he do that to it? Ball tries to do that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to, you see it, but then as you get close enough to touch it, you're blinded by the light. But pulling back again as your vision returns, you do see where you left a mark through the dust. And looking up on your finger, you see what looks like the dust of maybe diamond or a similar gemstone.
Well, Ball will go up to Meli and say, I found this on the stone. Do you think that is this the kind of gem dust you need? Do any of you know what looks like diamond? And Ball's just kind of looking at, using the reflection from the green light to try to make sense of what it is he's looking at.
And for those that see what Ball's looking at, it does look like ground up dust of diamond. Were you showing that to Meli? I wasn't sure if you.
Yeah, showing it to Meli, okay. But then also, his Ball might think he's a quiet guy, but he's, so he could still be heard.
It looks like diamond to me, Ball. She kind of looks at it as she's working with her hands still, enchanting, infusing magic into the gemstones.
Does anyone else know why there's diamond dust in these statues?
Diamonds are common reagents in magical spells. It could be that statues are a kind of battery for whatever it's producing.
Used in part of the enchanting process for making them in the first place.
Well, if you'd like, I can hit the statue again and get more dust. Then maybe I can try to set the, how the fuck do you say it? Brazier? Brazier? I can't say it anymore. Brazier, thank you. It's just brazier stuck in my head now. So Ball's or I can try to set the brazier on fire. And I think if it's just if everyone seems kind of indecisive, Ball will just continue to walk up to the brazier and kind of inspect it closer.
Ball, you move up to where Felix is looking at it, and the brazier is partially the malachite stone and partially gold, it looks like. And it is otherwise empty. There's nothing in there, ashes or coals. It's completely clean. inside. You can kind of see the script he's looking at that y'all didn't notice before. But otherwise, it's a clean brazier.
God, can you remind me what I remember of the children of the old gods?
Yeah, I'll give you a little whisper here.
Great, because I cannot find those notes. Look, I don't know much about the children of the old gods. They existed before this world, if that makes any sense. Whatever creation event that sparked Northil, they predated. A few of them were said to have survived whatever calamity introduced this existence. But a blessing from something that ancient, for all I know, they very well could have made Aeon. I don't think lighting the pyre's a bad idea.
Very well. Ball's going to take some of his rope that he's got on him. I've listed here, quote, good rope kit. I think it's like a thicker rope, and he's just gonna... Ball doesn't actually have anything to cut it with. So Ball will just kind of look around and say, or maybe, Amson, did you give your dagger to Vesper?
Yeah.
So Ball will go to Vesper and ask if he can... Vesper, may I borrow your dagger?
Yeah, here you go. I'll pass it over.
Ball will cut off, like the end of the rope, throw it into the pyre, or into the brazier, and then he'll try to use his ignite to set it on fire.
Yeah, you do so, and as you ignite the rope, it begins to catch and burn. Orange flames begin to trail along the rope that you put in there, smoke billowing up into the ceiling. The ceiling's maybe 20 feet, it's high-ish, but begins to kind of billow up there and catch above you. As you do this and you use your hand to ignite this, there's a little flicker of green that sparks for just a moment from the same hand that you ran across the broken Sphinx statue. It flickers and burns green, but just for a moment before the orange flames continue.
Well, we'll go walk over back to the Sphinx statue, and when you said that he had hit, I guess, the arm of the Sphinx, is there some piece that he can just kind of grab off that might have been damaged?
Yeah, there's a piece that's maybe the size of a football of malachite stone.
Alright, so I guess the rest of you will see Ball walk up to the Sphinx, kind of blindly reach around where he thinks he saw the broken off football-sized piece, grab that, and start carrying it over towards the brazier. And then he'll throw it inside and see if that serves as any kind of fuel for what's left of the fire.
As you put it in there, it takes a moment, but similar little green flickers begin to burn from the stone. They're small, just as if burning very tiny amounts of fuel, kind of flickers of green. You do notice after a couple minutes of this, watching this stone burn, the light behind you, Ball, flickers just a bit, and you look behind and for a moment, you can kind of see through the light before it grows stronger once again. The rest of you don't notice the flicker of the light between the statues at all. But Ball, you can. It seems there's something in the stone in trace amounts that can burn that seems to affect the light coming from the statues, but it's not in high enough quantities to affect it fully.
Well, Ball will try to kind of communicate this and say, well, I don't know how this works, but whatever I threw in there seemed to do something to this green light. I think I want to hit the statue some more, but maybe you have a better idea.
Can Amson grab a piece of that stone?
You can find a smaller stone. The Ball broke off. You're blinded as you get close enough to the statue, just as the Ball was, but as you walk away from it, your vision slowly returns for the next 30 seconds or so.
Okay, can I inspect the piece of stone that I got to see kind of what it's made out of?
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
Okay. That's a pretty good die roll. I think I have +6. +7. That is a dirty 20.
Okay. With the dirty 20, it looks like malachite stone, but it doesn't appear carved. You see no carve marks. Either it wasn't carved or it was carved by someone of amazing skill level, or it was molded from molten stone perhaps, or shaped in the way Ezekiel shaped stone. Looking closer with a dirty 20, you do notice little flakes, dust within it, and on the edges were the broken, jagged surfaces of that similar dust that Ball came off with. Looks like little tiny grains of diamond kind of embedded in this malachite. Trace quantities, but it's there.
Well, if that's a magical brazier, then it's probably burning the diamond dust.
Well, what do you think, Felix? Do you think that it just needs more fuel for the fire?
Probably. And I will dig in my pouch for my stash of diamonds. I should have 300 gold worth. I don't know how they're divided. The spell doesn't need one big diamond. It can be just diamonds in general. If I can get like 50 gold, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, I assume when you're getting diamond for that spell, since it's not required, it's probably easier to find, smaller diamonds, and one diamond is worth exactly that much. So yes, probably a number of smaller diamonds. So you can probably find one that's about 50 gold worth.
All right, I'll throw it in the fire.
Okay. You cast it into the fire next to the stone that Ball placed, and the last remnants of the rope as it burns away. As you do so, immediately the orange flames shift to green, the same light that's coming from the statues behind you. It burns and flickers, and you can see the diamond slowly withering away like the last coal of a burning fire. And as it does, that green flame ignites and grows brighter for a moment, igniting the room before the brazier goes out. And so does the light coming between the two Sphinx statues behind you. It's dark now except for the light from Vesper and the dancing lights of Meli, but the light between the statues seems to have dissipated.
I think that's good, right? That's what we wanted. Ball will say as he walks back over to Vesper to hand her the dagger back.
Well, let's hope it doesn't mean that something nasty is going to come out of there.
Only one way to find out. Felix will go up to the entrance and just verify he can pass where the wall of light was.
Yeah, the light doesn't ignite again as you step close. And you can step through where that threshold was, and you can kind of see down the stairs. 10-foot wide passage with about a 15-foot ceiling. It goes down and seems to circle around downward.
Well, does anyone want to join me?
Not especially, but I don't want to stay here either.
Meli did say we have 5 hours to kill.
Closets, it's stairs going down, right?
Correct.
Vesper will look at them very skeptically again and go, I think it'd be safer if I stayed with Meli. Also, I'm still pretty hurt, I should recover.
Alright, fine. Trade daggers with me.
Why?
So that if anything happens to you, you can get in touch with us.
Alright, fine.
And I will give her my returning dagger. She needs an hour to return to it before it will blink, to attune to it before it will blink for her, but you can communicate with me telepathically, and I can communicate with you telepathically, even across planes, while you hold that.
Ooh.
Dope.
Alright, call if you need me, I guess.
Amson will stay with Vesper, actually. Vesper and Meli. And he will, he'll give a sending off inspiration to Ball. And he'll say, Ball, will you keep Ellery and Felix safe for us?
Ball just you see Ball kind of hesitate. Or just a longer than usual pause.
Amson will kind of smile a little bit. Just try not to sacrifice yourself for our sakes. You need to protect yourself as much as you feel the need to protect us. We won't be very happy if you're gone.
I'll do what I must. You know that.
And Giant, I'll just add, please be careful, Ball. can't lose anyone else today. None of us can.
Ball will look over at you and just kind of give you a nod. A slow nod, but gives you a nod.
So as Meli continues to work, and Vesper and Hampson recover, Felix, Ball, and Ellery, do you guys go downstairs?
I kind of wave to Felix. Lead the way.
Happily. And I will keep my lantern of revealing lit as we go down the stairs.
Okay. You guys proceed down the stairs as the stairs kind of go down, turn again as you come down to a floor below. And I have Hampson and Vesper there just so you can, your tokens are there, but you guys are upstairs. As you come down the stairs, you see another room of malachite, floor, ceiling, and walls. This room seems divided by a wall. You see lined along the walls are solid golden urns, large, some of them 5 feet, the largest of which are maybe 8-9 feet tall. There's also these massive sarcophagi of solid gold that are placed sporadically against the walls, etched in imagery of feline creatures with humanoid faces. You see a broken urn as well, but otherwise empty. You see the room's about the same size as the one it was below, but it looks down the center. It's been divided into 2 separate rooms with a 10-foot wide threshold and 20-foot high ceiling kind of leading into the second half of the room. As you kind of spread out looking along these sites, you see through the short corridor that leads into the second half of this divided room is a faint, dark, and deep crimson red light that forms a very faint, it's somewhat hard to see, force field-like imagery of light, similar to what you saw above, but different, not as bright. As you get close to the light, it doesn't get brighter.
I look around for anything with the writing that we saw earlier on the brazier.
You see no brazier. You do see celestial runes and glyphs upon the sarcophagi and upon the urns, but they seem to be poems and lamentations and of rest. This looks like a tomb. You don't see any brazier where you could burn anything.
Are these them, the children of the old gods?
Possibly. We'd probably have to open one up to figure that out.
I don't like the idea of disrespecting the dead.
I mean, granted, the dead don't always stay dead, but I'm an archaeologist. Disrespecting the dead is kind of what I do. Ball, was it? Could you help me open this?
Ball kind of stomps your way and tries to give you a hint.
You see this sarcophagi is maybe about 10 feet long, maybe 7 feet wide. Large sarcophagi. It looks like it's completely made of gold, the bottom and the top being just one flat rectangular top that just sets on top. It does seem to be sealed with wax of some sort. And Ball, if you're attempting to pull it off, give me a athletics check.
Hold on a second. If I see that wax, historically, whenever I've seen something sealed with wax like this, it has not been good when it opens.
What do you think might happen?
Well, last couple of times were poison, and I got enough of that yesterday.
Fair assessment. Can I look if there is a trap trigger on this?
Yeah, make an investigation check. As you look around for ropes or pulleys or tripped lines.
His eyes will glow again, because that's one of my Aeon skills. 24.
Looking through, you see no lines, no hinges or anything. All you see is looks like a heavy golden top has been laid on top of a heavy golden box and it's been sealed with wax of some sort. No trigger as far as you can see.
Well, no obvious entrapment. We could try our luck with the light wall instead, if this makes you uncomfortable, though.
I'm just gonna stand back a bit.
Ball?
Ball will try to use, I guess while he sees Felix trying to investigate it, Ball will try to use Divine Sense. And until the end of my next turn, I know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. I also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell.
You sense no entity of any sort. You do sense that this place has been consecrated. You do sense a place within this room in the bottom right through the corridor into the second half of more concentrated consecration. This place seems to be sanctified, blessed, protected in some way.
I'll communicate that. You may not have noticed any traps, but this wax must be here for a reason. It is meant to be some sort of holy place. These tombs are protected in some way.
Fine. Okay, we don't have to examine those. Let's look at the wall of light. He will just grumble and step away from the sarcophagus.
As you do move, go ahead, Ellery.
I was just going to ask if I see anything inside the broken urn.
Yeah, looking inside, you see diamond dust and a few diamonds in there. Looks to be about 500 gold pieces worth of diamond dust and about 3 diamonds, each worth 500 gold each.
Huh.
And the urn itself, just like the sarcophagi, is made out of solid gold, it seems.
Well, I'm just going to leave that there. At least for now.
And as Felix, you approach the wall of light, it kind of sheds that sort of dim red light like the interior of a submarine. That kind of feel. But it doesn't blind you with brightness as you get close to it. You do notice as you kind of reach your hand out towards it, the red light seems to not get brighter, but almost congregate where your hand is, and you can't seem to pass through it.
Do I feel any, pain if I tap against it?
No pain actually touching it. It's just solid wall.
Well, any ideas? Or do I throw more diamonds at it?
Well, I think what we did last time was we started a fire. I don't think throwing diamonds will start a fire.
You guys hear shuffling from the other side of the room. Movement of cloth. And the tapping of footsteps. Slow. Revealing coming out of the shadows from the other room, you see a man. Looks human, maybe in his late 40s, early 50s. He's wearing a dark suit, finely dressed. He's not overly tall. He's maybe 5'8", 5'9". As he approaches and takes a step forward towards you guys, you see him through the light. It looks as if he has these dark bags under his eyes, as if he hasn't slept in weeks, but otherwise appears humanoid as he approaches you. I do apologize for what must seem to you an arbitrary imposition. I trust it will all make sense to you in the course of... Well, I'm really not at liberty to say. I come to you now with a message, though perhaps all of you would like to hear this. He's a man, humanoid, dark hair, silvered on the temples a bit, kind of takes a step forward, closer to the light. Miss for Miss Celery, an unknown, as he shifts his eyes towards Felix. I realize this moment may not be the most convenient for a heart-to-heart, but I had to wait until others were otherwise occupied. You've proven yourselves decisive, so I don't expect you'll have any trouble deciding what to do. What lies before you are images and visions of falsehoods. They seek to lead you
astray. I come to bring you this information in the face of objections. I have learned to ignore such naysayers when working against them is out of the question. Still, I am not one to squander my purpose and remain confident you will make the appropriate choice.
Who the fuck are you?
While he's talking, Ball's going to cast Divine Sense again.
You get nothing from him as you cast Divine Sense out again.
I'm not sure I could give you any answer that could be satisfactory to you. However, if you must have a name, you may call me what I was called long ago. You may refer to me as Mr. Walker. Ordinarily, I would not contemplate risking so much to bring this to you, but these are extraordinary times.
What exactly is it that you wish us to do? Or what choice are we supposed to be making?
Maybe we should call the others down.
Vesper, dear. We need you. Nothing off yet. We're not far. But someone wants to talk.
Have I attuned to the dagger yet?
You don't have to attune to it. You just have to hold it.
Sweet. Okay.
You just can't use the returning property yet.
Okay, well, as soon as they went downstairs, I think Vesper kind of curled in on herself and started to just quietly cry. So this probably shakes her out of it. It's Felix. He says there's someone down there wanting to talk to us.
Meli kind of puts down what she had and moves towards the stairs.
Amson will help Vesper get up.
Yeah, I think I hesitate at the top of the stairs. Having nearly died yesterday, I think I remember all of the times going underground has not ended well for us, and kind of force myself to just grit my teeth and start walking down the stairs.
Amson will help her down, just like, it's alright, I've got you.
As you guys kind of struggle and limp, with Amson helping Vesper down the stairs, you come to the floor below and see two of the gold sarcophagi and urns, and the red light with Felix and Ball and Ellery kind of gathered around it as you two move towards it to see this human man in a dark suit standing before you. Kind of has sharp, irregular breaths as he kind of waits.
Greetings and salutations, Mr. Arms Blossom, Miss Fortsky, Miss Fidelis. I have been telling your associates of the message I've come to relay to you. You come at an interesting time. Extraordinary, really. And yet it could be no other way. Before you, there will be paths shown to you, false paths that will lead you astray. Do not heed the visions of false prophets. Do not become what they want you to become.
Who wants us to become? Who's trying to lead us astray from what?
It is unfortunate that I cannot be more specific, but I have agreed to abide by certain regulations. I admit I have a fascination with those who are able to adapt against all odds. If for no reason, then they remind me of myself.
Can I cast Detect Evil and Good?
Sure.
I want to get a little... I'm going to 5, 10... I'm going to get closer. That detects within 30 feet of me aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead.
Nothing.
Is it distinctly nothing, like with Alejandro, or just that it doesn't register anything? Like with a human or an elf or somebody?
Distinctly nothing, I'll say.
Okay. What are you?
I was similar to who you are now. But I made a choice long before you. There are none left as I am now. I am the consequence of poor decision-making.
Can you tell us who we are supposed to listen to?
I would answer myself, but I understand how you would be untrusting of one like me, and wise you would be to be suspecting. However, I do speak the truth. What little I can offer.
It's a little bit late to talk about trust. I don't think, and I glance at the others, any of us have a reason to trust you at this point.
And wise you would be for believing such things. I hope you don't think I am ill-timed or rude. However, a great many matters require my attention in these troubled times. I do hope you understand, and I do require a further indulgence on your part if you are willing. This is the choice I spoke of. He kind of takes a step closer to the light, right up to the edge of it. It would be beneficial to I and to you, perhaps, if I were able to relay information not present. If you would be willing to take my hand, I would be able to do so at a later date and time. And he kind of reaches his hand out towards the light. I understand the unfortunate position I am putting you in trusting a stranger in times like this. And yet I ask you to make the choice anyway.
Felix will look to the others.
I'll look around. And if nobody else is going to step forward, I'll start to.
I'll start to step forward. You are a strange entity.
Just one more question from me. How do you know our names?
I was once you. A long time ago. Before the current crisis. I need only one hand. And the red light before you flickers away.
Yeah,
and he has his hand stretched out before you.
Because the last time we trusted someone went so well.
If you want me to do it, so that you all don't have to risk yourselves, I will. I have enough voices in my head.
I've already got an appointment with a red wolf at some point in my dreams, so...
I'll do it.
You don't have to.
It's okay. I feel good about this one. And I know I'm not really one to say right now. But I feel good about this one.
You're gonna have to explain that to me later.
Empson will just look back at Ellery, look back at the man, and hold out his hand towards him.
Do you clasp his hand?
I do, in a good, strong handshake kind of way.
He returns it. This will be uncomfortable. I apologize for the abrasiveness. And as he squeezes your hand, that similar crimson light kind of flares up in his eyes and around his hand, and it burns your hand. You try to pull away, but the grip is strong as you feel that searing pain upon your hand. He releases your hand, and you can see, turning it over, you see these burn marks where his hand was, these red, searing marks, crimson, almost as if he had a red tattoo there. We will speak again. As he takes a step back, form begins to fade to black and void before disappearing.
I Are you okay?
I think so. Oh.
I'll get into my healer's kit and find something that I can kind of help calm the burning. I will use my healer feat, in fact, if there's actual damage to that.
You break out the aloe vera?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you do take 5 radiant damage from that.
You'll heal back up from doing the healer thing.
The light wall has also faded?
It has. And pushing her hand out, it seems you can move through now.
Thank you, Hesper. Onward and upwards, I guess.
Moving into the second half of this room, you see it mirrors the first half. Similar golden sarcophagi and urns scattered throughout. The only difference is in the southern part of the room, there are stairs that lead up about 5 feet elevated, and upon it there is a circle of gold kind of embedded in the ground. And in the center, there looks like there are ashes, and they gleam in the light, reflecting the diamonds kind of mixed in the ashes. And as you guys look around and kind of decide which way to proceed, we'll go ahead and take a break now. And come back at, I want to say 10:10? Does that work?
Sure.
Okay. Come back at 10:10.
Next time on Back to the Story.
Grievances of your people, the promises that came before, they are why we are here, why we have paid the price, why our corpses litter the skies and heavens. They are not yet formed. It will only be when the bells ring across the world, chiming will the harbingers be vulnerable, and only then shall the path be revealed.
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.